I can feel the hatred swelling in you now. The anger, the rage just boiling right beneath the surface. You try to mask your feelings, but you are but an open book before the Lords of the Sith.
Darth Maul, a Sith Master who sits on the Dark Council, the highest seat of power you could attain within the Empire, is now taking the time to teach Cyrus a lesson on cunning.
Did you truly think you could elude our senses to your true mission? Your purpose for apprenticing yourself to Darth Dreadon?
Kneeling on one knee with his head down in submission, not daring to speak outward unless directly asked a question. And although Cyrus isn't as adept to picking up social cues, he can understand just through the dark side emanating from the Sith Master, it would be best not to answer a rhetorical question with a sly remark.
Although Dreadon is as dull as they come, he knew exactly who you were when accepting you as his apprentice, using the rage you have as a tool for his own ends, and gorging himself on the dark energy you exude.
With Cyrus fearing the worst, he curses himself for being so reckless. Could he have been more careful, hide his motives with clever deceits? No. They would have seen through them, and being a terrible liar, he couldn't dare to lie to a Sith Lord. So what now? Does he run for his life and hope to flee far enough from the Sith to escape their wrath? Does he fight for his life with the ambition of getting at least one lucky hit? Does he beg for his life in hopes he will be spared and maybe only slightly tortured before being released? All of these thoughts running through his head, scrambled, unorganized. And he quickly realizes that even if he were to attempt to resist, he knew defying a Dark Council member merely a few feet away is a death sentence, especially for a mere apprentice. All he could do now is scorn himself for not succeeding in his mission to avenge his brother, who was previously apprenticed to Darth Dreadon but ended up dying, holding up to the reputation of the brute's record for killing apprentices.
Your thoughts are laid bare before me, Cyrus Belal. Your erratic inner mind is chaotic and uncontrolled. Your desire to avenge your brother is strong but untempered, if only. It could be properly directed towards larger goals, instead of such petty pursuits.
With that last comment about his honor and pride, Cyrus finally snaps and raises his head to look defiantly at Darth Maul. Looking directly at the expressionless mask that was perhaps the last sight of many hundreds or even thousands of sentient beings. With all his anger and rage, Cyrus says two words.
It's justice.
With no visible reaction from Ma, Cyrus still holds his gaze as if in challenge. Surely he is dead now. But he couldn't care less. If he was going to die anyway, it would be with dignity and pride. With arms folded across his chest, Ma replies in a calm but mocking tone.
Judge Justice, is it? Surely you know there is no real justice in this galaxy aside from the one you make with your own hands. You have this false sense of self-righteousness, that you think your cause has all the honor and excuse behind it, but fail to realize that your brother was weak. Weak enough to fall to the cunning machinations of Lord Viseran.
Completely shocked from the revelation, Cyrus is utterly speechless, and his eyes dart off from side to side, trying to understand how he could have missed such a vital piece of information.
Ah, you didn't know. He was the reason why your brother was killed. Since he was deployed on an impossible mission suggested by Lord Viseran. And since that lord had your master's ear, he easily convinced Dreadon to send your brother off to be the vanguard against an insurmountable force. And naturally, upon failing to punch through the enemy's defense, Dreadon dealt a harsh punishment on your brother. Had he been strong enough, he would have killed all his enemies along with the schemer. But alas, he failed the ultimate test. and paid the ultimate price.
Still looking down on him, Mar gestures with his palm upward towards the unconscious Sith pureblood beside Cyrus, and comments,
You think you're better than him? You think your cause is supported through some moral obligation to your parents and family, even though it ends in violence and death?
With fear no longer running his thoughts, Cyrus looks directly at Mar and answers.
Yes.
Slightly impressed by Cyrus equipping his fear and transforming it into anger, Mar goes on to prod the young human's philosophy.
And if he kills you, your parents and everything you hold dear, is that justice? Is it justice for those to claim their stamp on what they deem is fair, even though it causes misery on another?
Hitting a roadblock with his own philosophical understandings, the young blonde-haired human is left speechless with no rebuttal.
You're a child throwing a tantrum, unfocused, unfettered. You throw yourself with a recklessness that is unbecoming of a Sith. You are not a rabid animal, and unfortunately I could not teach your master this lesson. But you still have potential I do not want to see squandered by trivial pursuits. You do not realize that there is no real justice in the galaxy. Only the strong survive and the weak perish. Your self-righteousness blinds you to truths that could strengthen you, that could elevate you to the highest ranks within the Empire, make you revered amongst thousands and feared by millions. Only then can you enact your own judgments and claim your justice.
Using the Force to easily seize Cyrus's lightsaber, Mar ignites it and inspects it whilst continuing to speak.
The Jedi would have you believe in a code that would give your enemies mercy, allowing them to escape the fury of the victim. And I want you to understand that I'm not asking you to forsake your quest to kill Dreadon, but to put it on hold, since surely you have enough sense to not attack head first into a raging Sith Lord.
Seeing it futile to argue ideologies against someone so powerful and prestigious, Cyrus only lowers his head in supplication and awaits the judgment of Darth Mar, deigniting the lightsaber. The Sith Master hands it over for the young human to take. And upon Cyrus retrieving it with his head still lowered, Mar walks on over to the throne in his palace and sits down with an air of authority. With the masked Sith clad in heavy armor and spiked pauldrons sitting on his throne, he speaks with a voice that booms over the large chamber to direct it at Cyrus.
Now leave. You have bothered me enough with this petty squabble.
Before Cyrus leaves, and as the Imperial Royal Guard are dragging out an unconscious Darth Dreadon, Mar says one final thing.
Do not forget what I have told you. And if we ever need to have this conversation again, it will be the last.
After getting far enough away from Darth Mar's palace, Cyrus finally allows his mind to have thoughts again, without the threat of it being read, and makes one declaration that could define his career.
I will kill that old fool as well. Him, the Dark Council, Darth Dreadon, I'll kill them all.